I think the real question isn't whether Jar Jar Bonks is the Mega Sith Ultra Lord, because we know he is.
Right.
The real question is if he trained under that fucking Bugman Grotto. And Greedo Guabo.
Who's not a Jedi?
Or a Sith?
How does he fly?
How is he flying?
Midi-chlorian.
No, but when did you see him fly?
Just
Jar Jar has no
basically his
wings.
whole time on screen.
Oh.
Are you talking about the guy who owns Anakin back at Tatooine?
Yes.
That's not Greedo.
The only
Not
character
Greedo.
named Guibo.
That's not his name.
What's his name?
I don't know.
It's not that.
Who's Greedo?
Greedo's the guy who Han shoots first, definitely.
Hmm.
He also has like bug eyes. I want to say.
Well, the flying bug. See, he already got me with his mind powers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Welcome to another installment of We Figure Everything Out, a.k.a. Two Guns, No Ammunition. Thank you for joining us again. It's going to be a great day. Hooray. We have 4 of us here today. We're going to do a quick mic identifier, and then we'll get started with some super interesting gaming content. You know what? I'm Billy Two Guns. And let's see. I am without sleeves again. I don't care if it's cold.
Sleeveless Wonder.
Yeah.
I am Genevieve, and I think this is the 3rd time in a row I've worn these pants to this podcast.
Not the pants thing again.
It's all about the pants.
Not the
I don't
pants
know
thing.
what your deal is.
Wow.
Also,
Okay. Well, I'm Lisa, and I officially have the best mommy because last week I was talking to her about how I didn't have a hand mixer because I wanted to make souffles. And then what shows up on my door this morning?
a hand mixer.
A hand mixer!
What
So
the-
I have the best mommy
That's
because
adorable.
now I can make souffles.
What the fuck is a hand mixer?
Fun fact, I have
Like
a hand mixer now. It's an electric mixer.
It's like the 2 whisks coming out of a machine. You've never seen this? You've seen this.
Well, I
probably.
have one now, so there.
It's usually for like baking or like frosting. If you're making homemade
Yeah.
frosting,
Whipping things.
All right. I think we've got it.
mashed potatoes sometimes.
What? Huh?
Mhm, yep.
No, I'm Jake, and that was the most boring thing I've ever heard.
Jesus Christ. Really descriptive on
Let's
that
go start our own
egg
podcast
beater.
Fun fact, me and Genevieve are going to start our own podcast.
All right.
with
So,
blackjack and hookers.
boy, that is so good.
I'll listen.
Ha ha!
I would
Old
actually
memes are
listen
old.
to it. I'm going to freak out.
Just power through it, Bill. Power through it.
All right. So before we get into whatever I want to talk about, you guys have gotten some hands-on time with Civ 6, and you were chatting it up big time. We were talking about some Nickelback cleansing. What's going on?
Nickelback cleansing.
No Nickelbacks or cleansings, per se.
Yeah. No, I was just talking about one of the games of Civ I played a while back. And I got my giant death robots and I started a worldwide cleansing of all the other civilizations and I murdered them all. And it was very fun.
I played exactly 1 game of Civ 6.
How'd it go?
Well, I won, but it was on a easier difficulty because I had never played the game before. And I played as Mongolia with the full intention to be Mongolians and tear down everyone's goddamn shitty walls.
Goddamn Mongolians!
But I got so I was on a continent next to Poundmaker and Gilgamesh, who are just down to be boys with you and then spy on you in the late game and try to steal your shit.
What?
And then Denmark was south of me, and he was the only one aggroing. But every time he would aggro, I would take at least a city of his, often 2. And finally, he was like, "I'm sorry, I don't like you too much, but do you want to trade, I guess?" And I was like, "Yeah, fine. One of these days, I'll bowl over you."
I am a benevolent
But
god.
because I kept seeing these other civs have these better armies, because I was building a lot of wonders and I was doing lots of other shit. I was trying to scale to have an army, just win. What I wound up doing is winning the science victory with the intention of then continuing past the victory and just wiping the map clean with lots of weapons and explosions and nukes, etc. But I didn't raise the turn cap past 500, and the game just timed out before I could.
Now, have either of you sent any nukes in 6? Because I've always found the nuke functionality to be not very satisfying.
I've actually not.
It's pretty annoying, actually.
The biggest and bestest I've gone is with the giant death robot, which I find even more satisfying.
I had a
The
few.
little guy running around your map.
I had a few thermo nukes chilling, which I think they did. I think this was a change over 5 where like if you have planes or whatever, you can just choose to have them do a normal bombing run or to also drop a nuke. Like you don't have to deploy your nukes separately. You just have an inventory of them.
Oh, that's nice.
Which was much more convenient than having to have it take a slot on like your aircraft carriers or whatever. So I'm gearing up like for all this shit, but I was doing so much at the same time that, you know, I mean, I would have been able to do it had I just changed that one setting.
I just remember that I would like nuke a city, and you know, it's supposed to be a big deal, and they're like, nope, half their army survived, and I have to hit it 3 more times, and then it would just disappear. It would be God.
Glass the city.
But
You have to scrub it.
the robots, the giant death robots. Every time I've gotten to them, they're like no fun.
What?
Oh, you have to not level them up, but you have to, you know, research the different things that get them cool stuff. Like they can jump really far, they get extra laser beams or whatnot.
This is different.
Yeah, I'm talking about 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the reason it
Didn't
wasn't
have all
too
that.
exciting was because nobody else was there. By the time I got there, I was the only one with robots.
Like,
and it
no
was
one
just
could challenge me.
yeah, I'm just like blowing up cities, and they would take a little bit of damage, my robots, and I'd have to sit for a couple turns while they healed, and then I would just stomp over another one. And it's like, this is the game. This is what I'm going to do until the end of time because everyone's being crushed by my robots. And of course, I played on a huge map. There's 400 cities for me to destroy.
I was looking forward to that exact level of domination. You know, I find it entertaining from time to time.
After already throwing it in their face that you got
Just-
the other victory.
Yeah. Although with my science victory, it did get a little intense because fucking Poundmaker kept sending spy boys to fuck with my shit.
you got a counter spy.
I had 3 level 3 counter splies all overlapping over my space my spaceport where you build all like the rocket ship rocket shit to win the space
Yes.
victory, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter because I had 3 top level spies right there, and his one would come in and I could see him. I couldn't do anything. And he would just up. Your plans are disrupted. Like he came. if he
Mr. Magoo showed up.
if he had done his sabotage, if he had successfully done his one sabotage move like 5 turns later than he did, I would have lost. I would have not been able to win the space race. It came that close.
Did you only have one spaceport?
Yeah,
Gotta get multiple.
I know, but I didn't have
that mean you
time,
have
or
to
I didn't have time or space to do that.
I think you should have
space.
utterly crushed him under your boot heel of military might.
His footprint for his civ was twice the size of mine at least. And I was in an alliance with him, so I would have garnered all the aggro points from every other civ on the map. So it would like these were not options at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
If I actually wanted to, win, I could have started a war and gotten bogged down in it, and not have been, everyone would have been less happy, and then my production would have slowed down, and I would have not won the science victory.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like he was going to be first. He was going to be first. If only I had upped the turns to 1,000.
So what? What are the big takeaways from this new iteration from 6?
I mean, I don't know what it was like at launch, but right now I find it to be much improved over 5. A lot of the best stuff is still there, and a lot of great tweaks were made to the other parts. I haven't done anything with the religion system, which I know was pretty massively overhauled over 5.
I haven't done a lot. I've tried a couple times to go for religion, and the first couple times I didn't really know what I was doing, so I kept losing.
The Spiffing Brit does have a 45-minute odd video on how to totally cheese the religion victory.
Oh, you totally can. Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm not an expert. Don't ask me how, but refer to the Spiffing Brit. If you're curious, all he does is break games.
Kind of pissed. I definitely at one point when playing a game with Bill tried to get a religion victory in Civ 5, and that's not a thing.
No, it
I
is.
was just like focused on getting it. No.
It's one of the DLCs it is, I think. Isn't it?
Then it's one that I don't have, I guess.
I think religion was like barely a thing at first, and then they DLC.
It just gives you a lot of influence and like cultural.
Yeah, it's
benefits, but-
yeah, it's like an angle for the cultural victory.
Yeah.
But then I think the DLC makes so you can actually have a religious victory, if I remember correctly. I know in 5 you definitely can have a religious victory. You can have like warrior monks
Dang
and
it.
shit. Wild. I inherited in my Mongolia playthrough because Denmark was being a fuckboy, and I took like half of its cities over the course of the game. I inherited several religious monuments and just realized I had all this faith for some reason. And I was like, oh, can I buy anything with this?
Yup.
Oh, well, I didn't research anything in the faith, like tech or culture tree. But by the end game, it was like, oh, one turn for everything. Okay, sure. Boing, 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 boing. Get all my arrow points intact, And I have like 6,500 faith. Let's spawn all the religious units every turn. Because the city isn't doing anything else. I mean, it's like producing whatever I have it producing. I'm not going to burn production time on faith units if I have a bunch of surplus faith I can just throw at it and just have units just to fuck with the other civs religions. I'm not even going for this victory. It was just something to do on the side.
You don't have like holy warriors. They're like missionaries or something.
Well, you have literally missionaries, apostles,
great prophets.
There's a
great
few of them,
prophets.
but I know that I don't remember if it's something you research or if there's something else that you can get where you can buy useful things with faith.
Yeah, I think you need to like go up the religion tree more.
I
can
forget
buy,
exactly which one it is.
You can buy like military units at some point and like buildings with faith at some
like
point.
rock
Holy death
stars.
robot.
Quite
Oh
likely.
my God.
I don't know if
Literally, but
probably.
please.
I mean, you can get warrior monks.
In
which
the
I have
name
to-
of
Yeah.
the Lord. That was a death laser.
I am the alpha.
Were
and the
there
omega.
rock bands in Civ 5?
Yeah.
Like musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you send them around and they go play and sometimes they die.
Yeah.
'Cause I guess they got rioted and killed.
I don't remember
In action.
that. I know
I think
they
only have so many uses, right?
Or they can just completely fail their performance and just they die.
They just go on stage without tuning up.
they die of embarrassment and shame.
They do. Yep.
Probably overdose. Let's be real.
Yeah, they have like a big after party. And
Were they 27
much
years
hair
old?
on.
I'm through standing in line at clubs will never.
That's the
end.
Nickelback
I'm the lead
cleansing.
singer of Nickelback. and
We've
my
come full
life is
circle.
pretty
I didn't
good.
realize that Nickelback was fronted by Macho Man Randy Savage now.
Guys.
Yeah. Yeah, brother, we're Canadian.
Take a look at this photograph, brother.
Oh, yeah. You think you want to laugh? Laugh at this. I'm the cream of the crop.
Guys, I have a great idea. Let's do a Nickelback cover band called Dime Front.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
Did you read that somewhere?
No, I just came up with it.
Wow.
You didn't read that off a cereal box?
I don't even eat cereal, Bill. So no.
I'm sorry. What do you eat?
I had some kanji this morning.
Humans.
I'm sorry, Jake, I ate all the kanji. I would have
Die in a fire.
It was tasty.
So,
Oh boy.
how's the combat look? How's the animation look? All the
It's
personalities. Is my boy G Handy still a boss?
good. I didn't meet him in my game.
Gee, handy. I love it.
But there are at least 2 rulers for India you can choose from. Gandhi being one of them. The other one's a little more war focused.
Who's
Yeah, I don't remember
name.
all of the leaders offhand, but
There are.
Gandhi's-
I mean, did I get
G
the?
Fisties, the warlord.
I forget what pack I bought. I think I was able to grab everything for the game for $30 over summer sale. And if that's true, then I have every single leader. And if that's true, then there are gazillions of them.
There's a lot.
Um,
I like Australia. I was just playing them last night.
The like,
Who do you play as Australia?
John Curtin,
Oh, okay.
I don't know who that is.
my boy.
It's not Crocodile Dundee or Steve Irwin.
I know.
That's ridiculous.
That's.
I bet you could mod it so it's Steve Irwin.
I feel like it should just be any Australian, and they're just like super cool.
You're just literally ruled by a kangaroo.
showing up.
They don't like them.
Ken Ham.
Oh, no,
of
it's
the
an
Creation
alternate
Museum.
reality where the Great Emu War, the emus actually took over. So it's your emu overlord.
That would be pretty interesting. If in Civ and everybody played it straight, the emus were running Australia.
Not the kangaroos.
No, the emus, the Great Emu War.
Not the drop
So
bears.
This is a thing you can look up. I don't know if everybody's heard about this. One day, the Australian military, I guess, was bored and they had too many bullets. They're like, we got to get rid of these emus. So they went out and they started gunning them down with machine guns. And they they ran out of ammo. Like, we can't kill them all. And they did not achieve their war objective. So if you go on
they lost.
Wikipedia, there are belligerents. It's the Australian army and emu. And like 200,000 emu died. And I think one guy got heat stroke. So those were the casualties.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
You could have drop bears as a specialized unit.
Yeah.
That's what it would be.
All right. We're not going down the fantasy Australia.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was fun. I'll play it again. I'm never going to put as many hours as you and Frank. But yeah, it's a good time. There's lots to do, lots of things to try.
Yeah.
I like how they changed up the golden era thing.
How did they change it?
So you should, in 5 there was just like happiness, right? And then there was a threshold, and whatever your like, let's say you got 10 happiness per turn, because that's what your current happiness or net happiness was. Then what did it start at, like 1,000 or something? You had to hit 1,000 happiness to have a golden age, something like that in 5. And if you hit that threshold, you had a golden age, you get more gold, everyone stayed happier, and like you get a whole bunch of perks, and it would last for 10 turns, or you could adjust how many turns it would last depending on your civ and whatever. Pretty straightforward. In 6, I don't know if it was part of a DLC or anything, but in 6 you have to, there are these things called era points, and they're market achievements, like historical achievements. Oh, you discovered XYZ, culture thing, writing, the wheel, whatever. You might have been the first one to have air power. You might have been the first one to be on horseback or whatever. If you something notable, right? And that could be worth just 1 or 2, or it could be worth, I think, as many as like 5 or 6 era points, depending on various things. And there's a threshold for the era that you have to meet. And if you meet it, and if you hit the minimum, then you just have a normal age for the next era, right? So ancient goes to classical, goes to medieval, Renaissance, etc.
As opposed to a dark age, if you don't even hit the minimum.
If you don't even hit it, I'll come back to dark ages. If you hit it and then hit it again, there's like an upper threshold, you get a golden age, and it's not quite as overpowered as it was in 5, but it lasts longer. But if you don't hit that minimum threshold, you have a dark age. In a dark age, you get these extra, the things are harder for you, potentially. You have challenges to overcome, but it's not totally like, you're not fucked necessarily. And there are these, throughout the game, there are government policies you can install, right? And as you unlock different cultural things or different research tasks, you can adjust them or tweak them, and depending on the type of government, dictates how many things you can have in different categories of policies. Well, when you're in a dark age, you get dark age policies you can optionally pick from, and they will have some sweet buff, but then an equally unsweet debuff.
Can I put my enemies inside of a stand-up coffin with spikes on the inside?
No. It's called an Iron Maiden.
You do that to your own people?
Did you live after Iron Maiden? Did you live in Iron Maidens? Like, were they like, you better not fall asleep because you'll get poked, or are they like lights out?
Like, did it instantly kill you?
I'm pretty sure it kills you.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think I'm pretty sure.
They were a lot tinier than us.
Like, a lot to do for just hitting someone with some spikes. Like, why even make the whole thing?
It's a torture device.
It's to be scary.
Because I don't know, maybe it's just enough to like puncture the skin, but not really damage organs enough.
Maybe
like, it takes a while for you to die.
We should go to, is it the Mutter Museum? And
fuck no.
And we should.
Mutter Museum's good.
We should break in and fuck with it.
Just
we'll
experiment.
do some tests. We'll put Genevieve in first because she's the smallest.
Yep.
Okay.
And
if I live, then we keep going.
Yeah, we'll just keep going up until someone dies.
All right. Here's watch. This is why I make the big bucks. If you want to make a horror game, an indie horror game, and you need some inspiration, head to the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. I've been there, and it's a goddamn nightmare.
I love it.
You could just walk a camera around and then be like, play through this game. It would be like The Lie I Tried to Believe. It could be a click sim. But okay, so have you been there, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
This place is fucked. It's
what
like,
is it?
Back
it's amazing.
in the 1800s, people used to have the worst skin abscesses, and they're like, here is a 500 times size close-up plastic model of a horrible sore that you'd get on your arsehole.
But the fun thing is that most of the stuff in there, if not all, are not plastic and fake.
Like, they're real?
They're like, it's weird medical oddities and like other gross things. Like, it has a skull that had bone cancer, so it has all these weird growths on it. Or there was a giant preserved megacolon that was so impacted that it just got so large and ruptured and killed the person.
Yeah.
It has so many cool fun things, and as someone in the medical field, I just find it so fascinating.
Can we
and
take
terrifying.
a field trip?
I may have been thinking of the one in Germany that's like all the medieval torture devices.
No, that's a different thing. This is medical grossness.
Yeah. No, I was thinking
both.
I forget what the one in Germany is called.
Well, this one's closer. I don't have to fly to it. So.
Well, that's not what we're talking about. So,
this one.
So-
we're not talking
field
about
trips.
visitation logistics. We're talking about torture devices.
I was talking about that one though, because I went there as a kid. My dad took me there, and it was like a 45-minute goddamn nightmare because it was like real life body horror. Everything actually happened, and they had horrible old timey tools. And you're like, how the fuck did somebody think that this was a good idea? They're like, yeah, this was for getting the spirits out of your head, and it was like a giant pair of shears with a bloodletting tube.
To be fair, though, they do sell a very nice smelling like perfume body spray thing that smells like spiced clothes and stuff.
That whole place
Smells
smelled
nice.
horrible.
But we should go. It's really fun.
And no, they're like, look at this pustule with extra pus. Big time, big. Check it out. It's like, I'm like, oh my god.
Have you
Double
ever
the pus.
seen the subreddit popping?
No, but
Exactly what it
yeah.
sounds like.
Yeah. It's so satisfying.
It's not even just
gross.
zits. It's like pustules, abscess.
Seriously, it's so fucking stop it.
And they're all white and kind of yellowy.
Oh my god.
But you don't.
Please. Ugh.
But they don't have a thing. You can't
Oh
smell
my
anything.
God.
Yeah,
I
so you just watch
I
it.
can't go back and listen.
But if you want to do it in real life while watching it, then you can smell the pus, Bill, who I know can hear me.
Oh my god, I'm so
I've terrified Bill.
fuck you. I said, let's please change the subject.
All right.
Yeah, I think
done?
so. Yeah, I think so.
On the
Jesus
flip side,
Christ.
you can now really build zoos in City Skylines. You can build and customize zoos.
Oh, in the game.
Like,
We're
just
talking
like
about
a
the game
zoo.
again.
No, we're changing the subject. So we're talking about the zoos that you can customize.
God,
in
okay,
City
so what do you do
Skylines.
with these zoos?
How do you custom?
I don't know. I just know that they have it now, or it's going to come out soon. And since Frank's been playing it more since he actually bought the game, he had a university built, but then a meteor came and crashed and killed it.
Stop it. You can get hit with meteors?
Yeah, there's meteors. There's different natural disasters. There's sinkholes that will pop up.
What is this, Sim
Meteors, tsunamis,
This is a maze.
tornadoes, thunderstorms. It's phenomenal. Frank
I
right
like
now is in a
this.
death wave.
Oh, yeah, he was telling us about floods. I remember that.
Yeah.
At one
What's
point.
a death wave?
Where a lot of your citizens die at once. So he
Like a
has
plague?
a lot. I don't really know why, but he has a lot of cemeteries because that's how you get rid of the dead people. But apparently they weren't doing their job, so there was just a bunch of dead people on the
Wait,
houses.
you're talking about City Skylines?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so instead of actually like doing something about it, he just destroyed all the buildings with the dead people in them.
That's a good idea.
Got rid of all of them. It was
Yeah.
great.
I had been playing that back in the day, and I filled up my landfill, and then I was like, all right, I want to get rid of all the trash, and it was very difficult to tell my 500 trash trucks to take the garbage out of this landfill and burn it up for fuel or whatever. But it worked out. That game is he good at it?
I mean, he's getting better right now. He had a really big traffic issue with the main road coming into and out of the city. So he just basically demolished it all and made a giant elevated highway with several exits. But I'm not quite sure the outcome because that was just today.
My city, I have like way too
Hold on
many.
1 second. I don't think it's picking up your mic.
Yeah,
or
it
mine.
is. It is. I can see mine. I can see Lisa's. Now you talking to your mic.
Hello?
Yeah, there you are. Okay.
This is what happens when Jake leaves the room momentarily.
Well, okay, because it wasn't doing anything when you were talking. And why is it not doing anything now?
It is doing something now.
It's just really tiny.
You have glasses on. I have no glasses on. I can clearly see it.
Oh my gosh.
I also have no glasses on,
Oh my God.
for those wondering at home.
Okay, let's continue. So,
Do you ever think that maybe
You know, I actually did just buy a pair of blue light glasses.
everyone knows you're retarded and they just keep it a secret from you?
Sometimes I've actually thought that if people are just really nice to me because they feel sorry for me.
Maybe it's this spot in the room is not a good spot to be in.
It's possible.
This is yeah.
Yeah. No, but I did just get a pair of blue light glasses. They're not for my excellent vision because mine is perfect, but I get headaches when I look at screens now, so I got them.
Uh-huh.
blue light glasses.
Yeah, it filters out
I
the
heard
blue light.
bootleg.
Oh no,
That's- I
blue
was
light.
Confused for a second.
Like the color of the sky.
All right, I guess we're moving on to fucking glasses now. I know a couple of guys who, I know a developer who got those because he looks at screens all day. You can just change the setting on your machine.
Yeah, but
Should
this
be.
was at work.
You
Where I
can-
literally sat in front of a computer all day for 8 hours and I'm not used to that and that's what happened and my eyes hurt.
Okay.
So I got glasses instead.
Do you find it's helpful?
Infinitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Blue
Are
light's
they-
the devil.
I like them.
Are they
Jake,
yellow or like
never
orangey?
leave us again. That was a nightmare.
Why was that a nightmare?
Well, we had to troubleshoot the microphones, quote, not picking anything up. Guess what? Spoiler, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. But somebody wasn't convinced. We had to stop our whole conversation about City Skylines to get into
So
that.
now I have to go back in and edit that bullshit.
No, just leave it in there. Fuck it.
Okay.
Just fucking send it. All right. All right. Now that you're back, we're gonna pivot to the game that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Europa Universalis 4. Now, Frank mentioned this. We were talking about the Civilization series when he was covering Civ 6. We were chatting about like all these other different, what are they, like strategy games, and I was mentioning none had really ever pulled me into hours and hours of play like the Civ series did. And he said, well, same here, except for Europa Universalis. I think 4. They might have 5 out, but I picked up 4. Anyhow, this is a game made by Pandemic, which I think is the same company that makes Hearts of Iron, and they might make Crusader Kings, which, by the way, I tried to play Crusader Kings, and I got the old version, as is my style, and the text was too small, and there was too much of it. And I said, I'm not going to read all this. I'm not reading a book right now. So I went ahead and I bought EU4, and I started playing it, and I went through the tutorial, which was kind of helpful. Basically, this game is you can pick what era you want to start at, but the best ones to start at the oldest ones. I watched a video and a guy explained all the DLCs that have improved the game really affect like this regular starting point.
Paradox, not Pandemic.
Oh shit.
Paradox has done a shitload of games in that vein.
Wow. Oh, their stock price is $12.45. After this podcast comes out, it's gonna be like $15.
Damn.
They're gonna get the 2 guns.
Oh,
Boom.
they're from Sweden.
Oh look, yeah. Europa Universalis, Crusader Kings, and another one that we play, Stellaris.
Stellaris.
Oh, they did
there's-
Stellaris
they
too?
play so many fucking. They made so many games. Where the hell? There's got to be a list here.
I thought Stellaris looked cool because Frank had picked it up a while ago, but never really played much of it. But I remember.
Imperator Rome came out this year, I think.
Mm,
It's the same idea, except it's the civilizations of antiquity.
very cool.
There's
I played
like medieval ones.
Stellaris is good. It's not great. It's good though. But so I've started playing this game, and the first night I tried to follow the tutorial, and there is so much goddamn information. Like this game, I found a ledger, and it's all your expenses for every territory and unit and interaction in the whole game everywhere. It's like 20 different categories, hundreds. I was like, oh my God. And I guess you don't need it. But what it is you come in a certain year, I think it's like 1400, and you can pick any country that exists at that time. Any country. You can be Iran or the precursor to the Ruskies,
I mean, Mountain Blade too. Oh no.
or you can be a native tribe in the Americas, or you can be me, and I was French. So like, they got a cool spot. The French, you know,
Tell us more about the French.
French. I think my voice is tired
my.
from that yelling I did earlier.
I think it knows you're talking about France, and it just chickened out.
Sacre bleu.
Enculé.
Enculé. Would you like some frogs to eat?
And that's,
No.
So I've been playing as the French. In the first game I went into, I thumped the English.
Ooh.
I thumped them good. I
baby.
took like Kent and I backed up the Scottish, and the Scottish fought them. It was really good. But we got to a point where each one of my provinces has a culture, and they didn't match my Francian culture. So they're like, we want to be our own country. So I had rebels everywhere. And my armies were like, we feel sad. So a big thing in this game when fighting is the morale of your armies. So it's not like you take out all the other units in the other army. You just exhaust their morale.
Okay.
Based on like your king's military acumen, plus if you have a general assigned, plus something else.
Probably the rank of that general and how many units you defeat.
Right.
Because all these games are kind of the same but different.
And they fight and they fight, and then if your military loses, they run away. Well, these rebels were getting super hype, and I was marching in these ginormous armies and getting smoked. And I was like, I can't figure out why this was going on. And they're like, well, you might be too poor or something. Too many loans. Your military doesn't like it if you have too many loans. I don't know. So eventually I quit that one. I did okay, but I had to quit because I was like, there's no saving it. So I played France again. And I was like, this time I'm going to convert everyone to my culture. Ha 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 ha. And that made some people angry. And then I learned that not only is there culture and military to worry about, and also province development, which gives you more money, and you can build buildings. So all that stuff is there. There's navy, which can blockade your enemies, or you can be blockaded by, and you lose a bunch of money, which apparently France is terrible at. But there are estates given to the clergy, the bourgeois, and the nobility. And if you're nobility, which happened to me, I was like, oh, I'll give them an honorary title to build their loyalty. Their influence got over 100%, and they're like, we're going to revolt. We're going to take over the country. So I had to be like, oh, shit. So I had to like chop off a bunch of their heads. No, I went in to my province, and I took away the estate. I was like, you don't get this province, nobility. And they're like, we're really mad. So then some nobles were like rabble rousing. They were you can go into the screen as probability of rebels. And you're like, you can either give in to their demands, which oftentimes is like you'll take over a country or a little province and they want independence. And they're like, give in to their demands, and you lose prestige. If you don't have prestige, nobody thinks you're cool. And guess what? Then your relationships go poop. You lose money, and your armies are sad. Everything comes back to your fucking armies being sad. So...
Triggered.
Yeah, triggered. So the first game I had to give up because I just gave in all the rebels' demands, and I could not stop having rebels. And I was a sitting Peking duck, covered in duck oil and duck
I've never
sauce.
actually had Peking duck.
So... and there's this super fast mode so that the turns go by really quick. And
Was that what super fast is?
if you you can change all these settings. So if a certain pop-up comes up, it pauses the clock. But I would get these pop-ups and they'd be like, your ally wants you to help them in this war. And the game clock wouldn't stop as I was reading it. Because it was ripping so fast, it would go right by. They'd be like, your ally hates you now because you didn't help them, idiot. Like, if you don't respond by a certain date, it auto-declines. And I ended up watching a video of how to, like, send my troops to England to invade. I watched, and play the rest of the game, I watched 4.5 hours of video the first night I played. Yes. As I was playing, and it wasn't even the whole video series of the ultra beginners how to.
Ultra beginner?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The most basic of basic.
So I just googled like how to play EU4, because remember, Frank got me past this hurdle of like not wanting to research games.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to break the experience. So now
here's why.
I Googled this, and I was like, how to play EU4. And I looked at the most popular one. I was like, I shouldn't click on that. Because dollars to donuts, this guy has a speech impediment, and I'm not going to want to listen to it. You know, because you just don't want to hear this the entire time you listen to a 4-hour video. It just can drive you crazy sometimes. So I go and I listened to the second one, and I was like, this kind of sucks. I read up on the first one. I went back to it. I clicked on it. And I'll be gobsmacked. this motherfucker had a speech impediment. I called it. I don't know what it is. I guess maybe it's like, these streamers are like, everybody makes fun of how I talk. I'll show them by talking for a job on YouTube. Ha ha ha, I win.
Big brain.
Yeah. And it was one of those things. I sort of let it ride, and by like hour 2, I stopped noticing it. I could just pay attention to his content. But it was very informative, and he did this whole section on how to trade. And he's like, okay, so there are trade nodules in the game, and if they flow into here, and you can influence it this way, and you can collect from here, and you can send it downstream, and blah, 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 blah. I was like, I don't know what. So I'm always broke. And here's the issue, okay? Because every time they attack, it's really expensive to keep my army happy. And then these fucking fuckboys, they have their little green bar and their morale's super high. And I'm like technologically advanced. And then the English come stomping in, and my army twice as big fights them. And they're like, oh, guess we died. And do they get defeated and simply flee? No. They all die for whatever reason. And I'm like, why is this happening? And they're like, oh, you need to look at the terrain multiplier. And I'm like, oh my God. So I have played probably 40 hours of this game in the last week and a half.
Still have no idea what you're doing.
Dude, I love it. I love this game. But last night, I finally gave up at 3 a.m. because I was just capitulating. Burgundy and Great Britain were finger fucking me as France, and I finally had like this like slant of territory, and I had 17 loans, and loans charge interest, and the interest was taking a lot of money away, so I couldn't build more military units, and I couldn't wage war effectively because every time you run out of money, you take another loan, and then it increases inflation. And it like every time I would get to the point where I'm starting to pay off loans, somebody would go to war with me, and then I would need more loans. I finally paid them off, and I had like 15 states left, and I had an army of like 50 guys, and Great Britain's just like stomping around in this territory that Burgundy won for them from me with 38,000 soldiers, and they're like the happiest fucking goobers ever, led by a 3-star general. I was like, you know what? I quit again. I think, here's the thing. This whole game, everything I read about, they're like, it's all about colonization. It's all about colonies in the New World. How many colonies have I successfully started? Zero. Because you need to research these certain trees. Like exploration, you need to research exploration ideas, and it costs you 400 diplomacy each time, unless there's corruption, and it costs a lot of money to reduce your corruption, and corruption makes everything more expensive. And like, I finally get a colonist in my second game. I get one. And they're like, you have a range of like 150. So cool. I'll just go. Nope. Everywhere's colonized already. Fucking Portugal. Got it all. Got it all. These goddamn boners. I can't go anywhere. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just circumnavigate the globe with my biggest cool ship. Nope. Dies of attrition. Whatever that means. Found America. Can't do anything. Try to sail back. Ship dead. I'm like, oh, I'll build a new, more expensive one. Dead. And then guess what? I got invaded again. So I quit. And here's the thing. I could, they recommend certain countries for you to start as, like Castile and maybe Austria. I don't know. I now have like a challenge in that not only do I want to do well in a game, but I want to do well as France. Because I've gotten smoked 2 games in a row. It's like, after like 16 hours of play. So it's not a small portion of my life. You know, it's like, you're so dumb. And every time I'm getting whooped up, I just think about Frank, like, wow, clearly you need to do what. And he's never talked to me like that. I just know him, and I know that fucking robot has done so much research, and he runs the numbers, and he never plays fast, and he knows exactly how to influence trade. And he's like, of course, yeah. And he told me, I think one time I said I will play him in a strategy game. He's like, good luck with that. I'm a fucking robot, and it sticks in my craw. That motherfucker. I'm so every time the British and Burgundians were invading me, I just thought of Frank's fucking face.
Frank, I hope you're listening. I know you're not, but I hope you are.
But this is going to be a whole rabbit hole to fall down. Like, I don't know why I'm not chomping at the bit to get on to Civ 6, but this game is a lot of fun, and it gives you a lot of that. It gives you a very high level of control that I think I sort of craved in the Civ games that weren't there. Now, you don't manage cities, you manage provinces, and like you can build like a church and get more taxes. You can enhance the development. There's things like ideas to embrace, like the printing press and colonialism and all sorts of stuff. There's a lot to manage. And it's this sort of nitty gritty that you can't really do in Civ that I know of. Maybe.
Yeah, because in Civ, it's more like you can build stuff up, but there's not necessarily negative consequences to not doing that, aside from you just don't progress as fast. But Europa Universalis sounds like unless you're doing these things, you get rebellions. And
I have never seen EU, but I have seen, by way of other YouTubers, many of Paradox's similar games.
Yeah.
Imperator Rome, Crusader Kings, Hearts of Iron, like they're the same game but set in different eras with tweaks, right? And they all look real fun, if not quite my speed. If it's anything like those other games, then from what I've seen, it's like Civ, but way deeper, deeper, and with different focus. I mean, you already talked about cities. Civ's all about the cities. All about the cities and what you do with their surrounding territory. But there's still a lot of similar stuff in play. I mean, it's still maneuvering. There isn't attrition, but there is, health bars and promotions and experience. And it's a different take on many of the same things. But I definitely think I see where you're coming from with wanting more control and more nuance.
It's cool. And I know for the good of my health, right? I need to stop playing France. I need to go be the Ottoman Empire or something. And but I hate Frank so much right now that I have to be France. And don't worry, there's a religious element. In the first game, I was Catholic France, and the Pope was like, I'm going to excommunicate you anyway. And then everybody hated me, and they could declare war on me. Oh, you can't just invade places. You need casus belli. And if the Pope excommunicates you, anyone else who's Catholic can be like, sweet, I'm coming for you, bud.
Religious war, yay!
Yeah, and don't worry, the Pope, he calls you for crusades, which I've never once participated in because I cannot unify Europe enough to effectively establish enough military rites of passage to move down to the Ottoman Empire. Okay? And I mean, they called me in they're like, hey, you want to go fight Muslim Gibraltar? And I was like, yeah, right. They have like 3 territories. They're like, hey, do you want to fight Muslim Africa? And I was like, nah, bro. Because every time I try to put my military on some ships, they get bodied. I'm like, we have these galleys and they get 100% inland water bonus. 15,000 people dead. There's so much to it. And it's not, I can't even complain. It's not fair. It's totally fair. I'm not got good. Mm-hmm. This is my what is it? Dark Souls, right? Like I played Hearts of Iron, and if I had been better at it, it probably would have been more fun, but it didn't have that je ne sais quoi. And it did not have that qualité. Oh my God, the French is taking over me.
Is it also have to do with the juxtaposition / irony of now being basically a Francophile and rebelling against Frank?
Oh, I didn't even think
Is that what's going on? Oof. Never mind that he's actually Italian. We'll ignore that.
But his name's Frank.
His name's Frank.
Still works.
I don't know.
I think there's some deeper issues going on here, Bill.
Gotta search within yourself.
You might need to get some help. But
all my problems will be solved if I just win the game.
All of your problems.
Yeah.
All of them.
Dude, like, okay. Here's an aside about how much of like a dog shit person I could be. Like, not a dog shit time manager.
Here's the most deplorable thing I've ever done with my life.
I have had chores to do around the house since I moved in. And I've had projects that I've started like 2 years ago. And I'm like, a gnat's pubic hair away from finishing. And I haven't done any of them in the last 3 weeks when I have all this time, because I was first playing Zombie Minecraft and now I'm playing Crusader Kings, and I'm not sleeping good every night because I'm watching videos on how to win this goddamn game. I got a problem and I'm having a great time doing it, and I'm super pissed, but also in love.
I mean, same.
Yeah.
Same, except Zombie Minecraft.
Yo, speaking of Zombie Minecraft, our server was fucked for like the weekend.
7 days
Seriously?
to die, if this is your first listen.
Yeah, I was, and I complained. We got ourselves
Dylan?
a server. Yeah, I messaged
Dylan.
I messaged customer support again, and coincidentally, Dylan, the guy who helped me the first time and insisted I did something to break the server, because servers, quote, don't just break, he was working again at a completely different time on a completely different day. He works 24 hours a day, and Dylan was like, sorry, we'll fix it. You'll get a free week. And I followed up 2 days later. I'm like, yo, we're missing almost all the weekend. Do you get a status update? And they're like, you'll definitely be compensated. And then it got fixed, I guess, on Monday when someone other than Dylan came in. And then they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything at all after that.
Good.
And I was like, okay.
The every level of the service experience with this whole server thing has been
Amazing.
eye-opening.
Yeah.
Working in a service capacity for my entire working life, just about, and how beaten into my head various idiosyncrasies and mannerisms and things you say and ways you type, etc. Because I have access to the messages too, and I don't know if you did a live chat, but any email correspondence, like I've looked at it, and it hasn't been the worst, but when you couple it with the UI and just naked emailing your passwords around and having to deal with 48 different passwords because there's all these different layers, what is I still haven't figured it. I mean, I'm co-running things with you just fine, but there's still a lot of spookiness going on and a lot of jankiness.
Yeah.
It's been weird.
And
but overall, I mean, the game's still fun.
And I don't mean anything by this other than what I'm saying right here. I'm going to preface that. But like, I'm in the tech industry. There was a period of time when everything was going overseas. Companies were like, hell yeah, we'll just employ people in other countries for like $1 a day. And now a lot of that work's coming back because it turns out there's some sort of mixed signals,
Like the customer service part of it.
Americans are like, what is this?
Yeah.
Who are you? What are you saying to me? Why are you avoiding my question? Do you have an update? We will compensate you many thousand apologies. I'm like, what the fuck?
Please do the needful.
It was like the soft skills, it just didn't work. And companies are like, well, I guess it's worth paying a bunch more money to just
not have your customers hate you.
Yeah. So,
because, basic customs and interactions.
But that's finally up. And, I don't know. It's a weird point in my life. I feel like a little kid again. I feel like I was like, well, not really a little kid. When I was 13 and I was like addicted to Skies of Arcadia or whatever. And I just played it all the time. And all I wanted to do was play games for Counter-Strike and had a great time. I feel like that again. But I'm old enough to know that like I should be doing something else. But I don't wanna.
That's my life.
I don't wanna.
Yeah, I don't feel like it.
Man.
I think it's just part of being a grown-up now.
Yeah. I am losing weight though, okay? I'm still losing weight. I'm doing something, even if it's passive. I'm doing the keto diet. I'm down to 286 and a half, which is the lowest I've been in 7 years.
Damn, wait, we're the same weight now.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well,
Twins.
you're also like 4 inches taller than me, so.
But I also got I have a 1-pack. People brag about their 6-packs. I'm like, man, I only need one.
I would like some of that
It's one
juice.
big old pack.
Give me some of that sweet
Big
stuff.
old beer pack.
Yep.
Beer
Keg, a
cheeses.
mini keg.
This is a mini keg.
Yeah. As an aside, I was on Reddit and somebody was on the intermittent fasting subreddit, and they're like, I got to do this now. I got jaw surgery and I'm 615 pounds.
Oh God.
It's making recovery really hard. And I don't even mean it in a mean way. I was so fucking uncomfortable when I was my heaviest at 338. I was still uncomfortable at 313, 315. I'm still uncomfortable at 286. My knees aren't crying as much. How do you get to 615?
I don't know.
You probably don't walk.
And you're not like, I'm ready for death.
No. I mean, at that point, it's a mental disorder.
Right.
Like, not in a mean way, though. It's like no one logically lets themselves get that heavy.
without
at that
doing
point-
something first.
There's a mental health issue there.
Like
for sure.
I can't imagine, and I mean this. My statement's purely from the physical toll. It must be excruciating. It must be constant discomfort and pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a vicious cycle, because then how do you exercise and get up and move around more when you're in pain all the time?
I'm not anywhere near. I mean, we just said, like, I've been hovering in the 280s for several years now, and spoilers, not very much of it is muscle.
Gotta make room for that
Because-
one pack.
Because you boy sits at a computer all day every day, and I know full, and doesn't have the best diet. I know full well why my condition is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even that egregious. Okay, I could just like start running a bit every day and make no other changes and be much healthier for it in and of itself, right? But whatever. But even that, dude, discomfort, man, shit's weird. My body is upset with me in various ways. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing with yourself? Fucking, I talk about the Drunken Peasants all the time. Billy the Fridge was up at 600, and at
I
his
wonder
peak.
why he has it.
Well, he's down to, I don't know what he's at right now, but I mean, he's lost like near or maybe even more than 300 pounds at this point.
Woo.
Partly
is-
with keto.
Like 2 me's
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or one of me. And
Yeah.
I'm big. I'm a big boy.
Yeah.
I
and,
lost a bill.
I think he's still working on it. I'm not totally up on his life, but I mean, they watch a lot of, just to troll him a lot, because he's a rapper. They watch a lot of his old rap songs, and he was huge,
Yeah.
right? And like his music videos, and it's like, dude, he's a big boy. He's
He's a fridge.
He looks really good now. I watched. I was first exposed to him as Billy the Fridge because I was like, yo, this guy's dope. And I don't know if he stopped rapping altogether.
He's still rapping.
But you watch him on Drunken Peasants.
He's now a co-host of Drunken Peasants. Yep.
And I kind of really like his vibe. I mean,
He's hilarious.
he's really funny, and like we've talked about this before. Some of the content that you watch, like the people are so critical that it sort of makes me feel bad. 'Cause I'm like, oh, I sort of relate to that person they're criticizing.
I totally have that feeling too. Sometimes.
And when Billy talks, I was like, oh, this is actually really fucking funny, and it sort of eased me into the whole vibe. But good for him, man. He looks way better, and he can sing too, right?
I haven't heard him sing outright, but I mean, he'll throw a few notes here and there, and it's good enough.
I thought he was on with like his sister or something on like England's Got Talent. I don't know. I might be mixing him up with some other enormous fella who was really talented. But they oh my god, that last episode we watched was so good.
They were doing they have a segment called Cringe Raps. And
no.
And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. Except sometimes, because it's mostly, a lot of it is viewer submission, and they don't necessarily have the time to fully screen everything. So sometimes there's like ones that are just boring and it's not that funny.
Right.
Other ones are like, okay, this is like, he's like a proficient rapper, but the song itself is like not very good, and we don't have a whole lot to say here. But then other times, and the one I shared with you the other night was like physically painful for like the entire segment.
Oh boy.
And they were particularly because they did a lot of Christian raps.
Yeah.
But not
Okay.
just Christian raps, really, really bad Christian rap.
Epic Christian rap battles of history.
Oh my God, the knockoff of epic rap battles of history. It hurt me. It hurts me thinking about it.
My favorite part about that whole thing was I guess DP had a guest on. This guy was wearing a fucking mask, and I was like, well, that looks kind of I can't remember what his name was.
Hannibal.
But I was like, I don't know who this goofball is. It seems gimmicky, but I'm trying to be a more relaxed person. So I was like, we'll see how Maskman goes. And he was pretty funny. He made some good jokes. I mean, he has a gimmick. Everybody's got to, I guess. But my favorite part of the whole thing is he was like, this first guy rapping, because there's two guys. One guy's rapping as like the devil, and the other one's rapping as Michael, the archangel. And he's like, the devil, he's terrible. They put that guy out there because he's so bad it makes you hate the devil. The second guy, he can actually rap a little bit. I'm like, he's actually giving a little bit of credit to the second guy, epic Christian rap battles of history. And I was like, I was so stunned by the level-headedness. And he was like, I gotta give that guy credit. It's actually pretty good. From Maskman on the dead drunk pest.
Well, the cool thing about him, all right, he's one of two, Hannibal and Monty, who have another much smaller, newer podcast called The Shit Show, Hannibal and Monty's Shit Show, and they are very good friends with DP, and they are frequently guests, like it's like at least once a month, often more, but he, the mask-wearing fella, has been a professional in the music industry for like 2.5 decades or something.
No
like
shit.
almost as long as we've been alive. Like, producing beats and like working with various artists and rappers and stuff. Like, he knows his shit. He's not a rapper himself,
right,
but he's worked with a lot of them. You know what I mean? And then there's Billy the Fridge, who is a small time rapper, but a rapper nonetheless, and has been for a while. Like, he knows his shit. And the others, they just have a general, their own taste in music. And there are lots of these cringe raps. I mean, they're charitable where it's due. You know what I mean? For the most part, they'll be like, this dude can, he's on rhythm, he's got a flow, like the rhymes are good, but it's on this list anyway because the beat's terrible, the production's terrible, the content is terrible, the lyrics are bad even though they rhyme. Like, you know what I mean? They
that is what will open me up to that really critical personality content, where like, if somebody's shitting on somebody all the time, but they're willing to admit when somebody actually does a decent job with something, I'm like, oh, okay, right? Like that's fair. That's fair enough. That's like, if you can make fun of me. If you're not just mean to me all the time, once in a while you got to be like, you did this all right. You're really rocking that sleeveless shirt, buddy. So, but yeah, I know everybody's tired of hearing about keto, but it's the only thing that ever had me lose weight. And I'm pretty stoked. My new goal, Genevieve and I did this bod pod a while ago, and basically you just place air and it calculates your body fat percentage. And I was at 305, or was I over 310?
I don't remember.
I think it was 305, and they're like, you're 32% body fat. And I Googled it up. Obese. I'm not morbidly obese.
I'm technically obese.
Obesity. Obesity Khaleesi.
Mother of donuts.
That's so, oh my God.
Call me Fat Danny. I'm the mother of donuts.
That's a rhyme.
God, that's so good. I want fan art.
Through the fire and flames, will make all your brothers go nuts.
Oh my God.
My Halloween costume
I
next
started
year.
hearing Dragon Force when you said that.
Yeah. No, I'll make all the
Khaleesi,
Dothraki go.
Khaleesi.
Man, that doesn't work anyway. Okay, moving on. So my original goal was 220, and then I looked it up, and if I got down to 220 and I put on no more muscle, I would be 5.7% body fat. That's like
insane.
That's like a bodybuilder during a cut, like a pre-show cut, where they might die. No, they sometimes they die. I think they're at like 2 or 3% body fat, and their heart's like, can't do this.
Can't sustain life.
Yeah, so I switched it to 240. My new goal is 240, and I'll be 13.5% body fat. So I could have abs if I get them super huge. The issue is, since I was in school, I've been fat in mine own mind. And I look back at pictures of myself, and I wasn't fat at all. But I had really cool friends, and they reminded me every day that I was fat and I should probably kill myself and that everyone hated me. So, I don't really know how my body dysmorphia developed. I guess it was just a coincidence, sort of an accident.
It just came out of nowhere.
But then I actually got fat, and it's sort of weird. Like, you think you're already fat, and then you live like a fat person, then you get actually fat. Oh my God. So I'm like, all right, 240. But that's what I weighed senior year of high school, right? And I'm like, fuck, I gotta beat it, man. Because I believe, just like when I finally beat EU4, all my emotional problems with
when you do
Frank will go away. When I finally get under my high school senior weight, I will no longer have body dysmorphia, and I will be confident, and I'll be able to go back in time and relive my whole life. I know it.
This is all true.
Yeah. But
let me feed that delusion.
The most insane part about this is, and I know it's insane, when I came out of high school, I was in real good shape. I was playing football, lifting weights, all that kind of garbage. I was 6'2", 240. I might have been 240, 245, 240. Freshman year of high school, I put on an inch and 25 pounds. I just got big. So the real
freshman of college, right?
Freshman of college, yeah.
Okay,
I was at 265, 6'3".
They call that the freshman 15.
Yeah, but it was puberty V2.
Puberty.
I grew an inch. My muscles actually turned into man muscles, and I got chest hair. And I was like, oh. And my voice got like as deep as it is now. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm a late bloomer. I hit it. Well, nobody needs to hear about that. But so my goal's totally insane. But I'm doing the totally logical thing of just eating meat all the time, every day, Although I had some potatoes yesterday. How do you say no to a mom? It wasn't even my mom. It was Genevieve's mom.
Yep.
And she was like, I made all this delicious food. And how are you going to be like, I'm a big vagina. I'm not going to eat your sugar. I'm not going to eat your potatoes that you made with love.
I'm pretty sure vaginas don't eat potatoes or sugar.
Well, they should. They do eat a kind of love.
Some kind of love.
Some kind of loving. But yeah, I don't know. So that was a hell of a section there, guys. Conclusion: Civ 6 is fun. EU4 is hard. City skylines. Frank likes. I'm getting less fat. Oh, and I'm doing stuff just sitting around because my body is wasting away as I burn ketones. All right.
Woo.
Thankfully, by the grace of God, we're going to take a break here. We'll come back and we'll talk about another medieval fun time, chivalry, medieval warfare. And catch you on the flip side. Welcome back. We just had a huge fight.
Yep, all of us.
Just covered in bruises.
Yeah, it's a huge fight.
That's what we do on our breaks.
All right. So, Chivalry. Bought this game. I remember first seeing...
One more time, clearer.
Chivalry. Medieval warfare, I think. So, this game's pretty dope. I don't think I paid very much money for it. It's a couple of years old. And I remember it before it came out. It was like realistic sword fighting mechanics. And then people had really cool videos. And there's this one classic of like, this guy runs up, punches the person video recording, his character in the game, whatever. And then the guy swings at him with a sword and he ducks it. And because of good hitbox technology, it registers a successful dodge. Then he punches him and kills the guy who was recording. So it was very exciting to see. Well, I got it, and I jumped on to play because our Minecraft server was down, and I said it's about time. The game's not very big. It's only about like 1 gig. You know, and I haven't played Rainbow Six Siege because it's 62. But get on, it has a nice little like training thing, and the game seems to be all multiplayer. And you go through like a basic tutorial, and it's pretty interesting because you have 3 basic attacks. You have like a long stab, a power, downswing, and a slash that's in between, and you can stack it with other slashes, and it takes time. So you can also feint a swing, so you look like you're going to wind up, and the other person will react with their block. And if you cancel your attack, you can then reinitiate an attack and stab them. I've done that successfully twice. And the servers are quite a bit of fun. There's like official servers for low-level players, and I finally found one of like its own community with custom maps. And there's not voice chat that I found, but everybody sits in the text chat, and it's real funny. Like these guys they're their own little community, because I think there's only like 200 people playing or something, and they play together all the time. And I get fucking bodied. I get maybe 2 kills a game. Now, this has everything that you could want in a multiplayer game, in that you can yell like a goofball. If you're not sprinting when you do the battle cry, you stand there and you like talk shit, and then you're easily cut down. There's 4 different units you can play. You can be an archer, where you shoot arrows and you have a little tiny knife. You could be a man-at-arms who's very quick and can dodge. And then there's some other semi-armored guy who's got a big sword and can carry a spear, but I haven't unlocked it. And then there's a knight who's really slow, and he swings an axe. And if he cuts into your man-at-arms, the man-at-arms is simply dead.
Oh.
Additionally, you slice off body parts.
Excellent.
Yeah, so like if you hit a guy for a killing blow, his arm just goes away. He's
So then, as the player, you lose that arm?
Well, you're dead.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't really happen when you don't die, because your health regenerates. Like if you run off, it does the Call of Duty kind of thing. You run off and then
hide in a corner.
After a while it comes back, but it's almost not worth it because it takes so long to regenerate health. You might as well just die and run all the way back. But it's tough because like you can't simply block at the right time. You need to face the right direction. You're supposed to block and have your cursor at the end of your attacker's
interesting
weapon to properly block it.
Yeah, so it's kind of trying to go for more accuracy, I guess. But.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a lot of fun. I think part of the reason the community is so small is that people found ways to really cheese it out.
What do you mean by that?
Like, there are guys who will do a 360 or like 180 backspin with a pike, and like they turn faster than humanly possible, and because with the animation, it hits like everybody in front of them and everyone behind them, and you almost can't attack them. And that's not too pervasive through the game. And I mean, some people I think they were like aimbotting, so their crossbowmen were smoking you in the head from across the map, but it wasn't that bad. There's enough servers that you can choose a couple different stuff, and I've been having a good time. I can get a good 45 minutes to an hour's worth of play out of it a day, and I'm slowly getting better. And surprisingly, the game is not full of a bunch of dumb dickheads. Right? The community's actually pretty cool. Like, I'm level 3 and I'm terrible, and nobody has given me an ounce of shit. I've team killed a couple times, and people will remark about that, and they just go, "Oh, sorry, dude." I'm like, no worries.
You've team killed? What does that mean?
It means I killed a teammate.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I didn't know. Like, that sounds to me like you would be killing an entire team, which
just one shot the whole team.
Yeah.
No, Not one shot.
Just-
Okay.
just
All
tack
right, I
nuke.
get it. Whatever.
You hit that 25 kill streak and just drop the tack.
Yeah. What's one of the ways that happens is if you're like, oh, I'm going to attack this blue guy, and you're red, and you go and chop a blue guy, and then a red guy, your teammate is next to him, you can cut through both of them and cut them both in half.
Amazing.
And then you get a team kill.
They're worth extra points, right?
It makes you wait a couple more seconds to respawn, which is super boring. The longest 4 seconds of your life.
Wow.
And I think you lose 5 points. It's tough though, because I don't really have a good feel for the reach of all these weapons. Like, I will run up to a guy and try to stab him with my sword, and it's like, haha, you missed. He wasn't even close. I run up to him and I try to do this leaping strike, and apparently what appears to be maybe 6 inches closer is now so close that I hit my hands off his helmet and do no damage, and then I get my guts cut open. So it's taken some finesse, but it's a good game. If you can pick it up for like $10 or under, highly recommend it. It's not, I mean, I'm not going to say it's like Black Lake level of goofy fun, but it's a real good time. Pretty good, a good quality community, unless you like can't take a joke. They use no words in the chat.
What?
Yeah.
Offended.
Yeah, I think they said like, the R word.
Reticulated python.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh God.
And then I think they made fun of like a political candidate or something, and then they questioned somebody's sexualness. So if you can't handle that smoke,
What's the game called again?
Chivalry.
I don't know why that was funny. It's prudent to
Fun fact: Jake
remind what we're talking about.
has no humor.
I didn't get it either.
Because you really? Do you guys really not get it?
No, they're just being.
Okay.
No, I really don't understand.
Okay.
But one thing that was really interesting about this game is that they spent a lot of time on like the landscapes, the battlefiels. They're beautiful, and you're like, oh, this must have been what it was like to fight in picturesque.
Yes. That's a word.
Picture looking beautiful.
Oh, that's not a word.
England place back in olden times.
Nope.
Right? So you're like running around, you're like running through this beautiful forest with like moss covered towers, and then you're like, ah, because somebody dumped hot oil on your teammate.
Oh no.
Chopping somebody down. It's pretty dope. And there's like ballistas and catapults you can fire at people, and I like it.
How big are the maps? I'm sorry, I was away. I don't know if you mentioned like how big the. Like, is it like a COD-sized map? Is it
Yeah, about that.
It's about the size of this room.
Yeah, nice and tight. But
12v12
Sprawling hills.
they don't have
in a 15 by 15 room. It's just 24
match.
people stabbing each other.
No wonder you got a team kill.
dude, but there are boners that get on and all they do is attack their teammates, and I really just wonder why. Why?
They like kills they can get because they're chumps.
So I had a guy do that, and I just parried all of his attacks. Eventually he got bored and stopped, but I felt pretty cool. Parry. I mean, it's good stuff. That's it. Okay.
Sweet.
Give it a shot.
Glowing recommendation.
Yeah, I definitely give it a thumbs up. It's like I don't think I'm gonna fall in love with the game or anything, but it is nice to look at. It's fun to play. A decent community. It's not a bad $8. I don't know how much it costs now, but put it on your Steam sale wish list, and if it gets under 10 or under, you'll get your money's worth.
Nice.
The best part is the head chops off, and blood goes everywhere. You splorch. And then they put in just a little, like 1 pixel wide thing for your spine, your nerves coming out of your spinal column.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
I'm gonna puke.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. This is Mutter Museum gross. All right. What do you other boners got going on?
I'm sorry, I'm looking up apple pie recipes because I'm making one when I get home.
Wow. Way to stay
Priorities.
engaged with the show.
Yeah.
I am. We were talking about chivalry and how it's not dead.
No, not listening passively and being able to repeat the subject. Staying engaged,
I'm engaged
engaging in
with
conversation.
the apples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fired.
What about the? Whoa.
You're doing
Whoa.
a goddamn book report.
You don't
Fucking-
own me.
It's not a book report.
Bookworm over here.
Yeah, I'm doing homey work.
Nerd.
Fun fact, Genevieve and I have priorities.
Yeah. Apparently showing up and doing our show isn't one of them.
Well, at least we showed up.
Jerks.
Yeah, I know. I did the
Unlike
first part
some
of that.
other people. Frank.
Hey,
And
as
Chris.
his keeper,
Also Chris.
you're partly responsible. Chris is dead.
I will have you know that I tried very hard to convince him to come. And he was like, no, don't read into that. And
I'm just gonna sit
I
here
said
and
he
smile.
could be dumb and sit on the couch and watch birds run around for 3 hours.
Watching birds run is pretty entertaining.
So we've
They look real dumb.
They do.
so let's do a tech talk here. Let's do a fucking tech talk.
Tech talk.
Yeah,
Tech talk?
I bought a Chromebook a while ago. I bought it refurb, $89.
Whack.
Yeah, it's Lenovo.
It's Chrome.
It's not
Nice.
very.
It's shiny and chrome.
It's not.
Witness me.
chrome. My body is gasoline.
What is
What?
this?
How does that?
It's from Mad Max. Go on.
Is that what he's? Okay, never mind. I was saying, shiny and chrome.
You've been using it today, Genevieve, to write your not book report. Very important that we made that distinction. What do you think of it? I think it's your first time getting hands on this.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is. So far it's handling pretty well. And actually it does a lot of the things aside from Photoshop. Really, this is all I would need in a computer.
I was resistant to it for a while, but I hold a position for our club, and I do a lot of work in Google Sheets. And this is basically a computer interface for your mobile phone. Like, it runs Android on there, so you can get all your apps. I have my stupid Messenger app on there, which I should take off. And you can browse like you're on a regular laptop, and you can access Google Docs. And that's really its big thing. It has low processing capabilities, low memory, and everything's done on the cloud, right? So you're not paying a lot of money because you don't need a lot of capability. You can't be running, video games on here, but you can browse the internet no problem.
And you can stream live sports games.
Oh yeah, we've been using it to like the camera on this little Lenovo. It reverses. I've never seen a laptop do that. But I just pointed at the roller derby team, and I streamed the audio through Facebook.
With all the cool sound stuff you got.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of equipment, but so yeah, you've been digging it for your word processing and reading and stuff.
Yeah, it's been wonderful right now, and it's so little light. It's
How would you compare it to like using
Perfect
your tablet?
the tablet. Well, the typing is a lot more. I want to say intuitive. I don't know. The tablet I found frustrating just because I don't know if it's the Kindle situation where you can't download apps or like specific apps that aren't in the Kindle store.
I mean, you can find a way to download Google apps. It's just a pain in the ass.
Okay,
Since this runs Android, you can have all the Google apps on the
Right.
Google Store on it.
right. Other than that, like I can't really compare it otherwise.
Really?
I mean, it has all the same functions. I've really only used these for like homework. I haven't like tried a lot of getting other apps and
I saw you
games
writing a
and
paper on your cell phone the other day. We're
Yeah.
driving back. I've never seen that Google Sheets on your.
I have
it.
done pieces of papers on my phone in desperate times.
yes,
I
that's what
avoided
this
those
was.
because it's horrible.
Yes.
Mhm.
And honestly, I have a tablet. I use it very sparingly. It was like a Black Friday deal like a year or two ago, and typing on that is almost worse because I didn't get like a peripheral extra keyboard for it. 'Cause I don't
Mhm.
use it enough to justify it, especially for that purpose. But then it's too big to just like
Use your
do it
thumbs.
normally with your thumbs.
Yeah.
It's too big and heavy, and my thumbs I have large hands, and they're not quite. I'm still twisting my hands in goofy ways to actually use the QWERTY keyboard.
Mhm.
So it's kind of the worst for that. If I were better, I'm sure with like text to speech that would get around a lot of that, because that honestly has improved significantly over the years. Or is it speech to text, I should say. But yeah, I mean, it's basically just like, I don't want to bring my laptop somewhere, and I want to be able to play like cell phone games without straining my eyes. That's really what my tablet is for at this point. But browsing the internet and it's an oversized cell phone, and it's an under-capable laptop is what a tablet is.
Yeah. It's good for watching stuff.
Pretty much.
I'll say that.
I guess the truck caravan came through the neighborhood.
I also left the window slightly open.
Damn windows.
I don't think the mics heard it until we brought it up.
Rabble.
That's what it sounded like. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought that a little 14-inch laptop would be enough for my gigundous hands. And like this lack of capability, but it worked out because it's so only capable of certain things that I'm not even tempted to try other stuff and get frustrated with it. It does have the ability for you to run a Linux terminal on there. So I was able to download a word processor called Sublime onto the machine, and I used that to take notes, and it did that pretty well. But it doesn't like to do anything other than browse the internet other than that. I don't even know that you can open anything. Like, there's like no desktop to interact with.
It's a pretty limited toolbar at the bottom too.
Yeah, it's really good for sending emails because you can pull up a document from like, your bank account or whatever and attach it to an email and pull things from sheets. And I think it's totally worth. I think it's $89 really well spent, and it's one of the very few things that I would actually take a chance on to get refurbed because there's nothing on it. This is like, it's not like your phone where you end up with like pictures on it, and if you don't back it up, it's a big pain in the ass. There's like nothing on this thing. It's all on the cloud.
It's just like a conduit between yourself and the cloud.
Exactly. So if it breaks, so what? And I'm used to carrying laptops, and as a huge man, I'm like, it doesn't matter if they're heavy, but this thing's so light and actually built pretty well, pretty sturdily feeling.
It's like you're carrying a notebook.
Yeah, it's nice to carry.
Ounces is pounds and pounds is pain. So,
What?
So yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, I have an old MacBook Pro. I'm pretty sure it weighs as much as my car. But I mean, it seriously though, it's as heavy as a generous textbook.
Yeah. Right.
So when I was using it, I used it for school somewhat, and shoving that in the backpack along with all the other shit you have to carry around when you're in college. It definitely was a strain.
Dude, this would have been such a game changer for me in college because I finally broke down and bought myself a laptop because I was stupid. And I was like, my desktop will work. And then I broke it. I closed the screen on my headphones, my iPod headphones. And I was like, I got to spend money to buy a whole new laptop. So I just didn't. But this thing, like, not even to mention that Google Documents fucking calls it that. Google Docs was a game changer for group projects.
Oh yeah.
Like we didn't even have to meet up. You could just all work together at the same time. Amaze. And if we had thought to use like a Discord so we could talk to each other, oh my God, I would have had to spend so much less time walking to these boring classrooms to hang out with these boners. They really didn't like me because I was like, it's Thursday. We've been chit-chatting for 90 minutes. I'm trying to go get drunk. So can we do some work? It's a school night. They didn't give me great marks on my peer reviews.
They were giving you lip because you wanted to get the work done?
Yeah.
How dare you?
He's a drunk.
Asshole.
He's a drunk.
He's a drunk. That's what they would say.
Just like that.
And they all said it the exact same way.
At the same time, it was eerie. So one time I showed up to class.
He's a drunk.
So one time
He's a drunk. He's a drunk.
Okay, now it's
He's
really
a drunk.
One time
I'm a drunk. I'm sorry.
One time I showed up to class like late
And drunk.
clearly hungover. I'm sure I smelled like a booze bag. And I walked in. I sat right in the front row because that's all that was left. I looked like shit. And the professor's like, "Does anyone know what the rule of thumb is?" And the first thing that popped into my hungover mind was that apocryphal explanation that it was a rule you could beat your wife with something no larger than your thumb. And I started to say that answer, and then I realized, like, this might be
insane,
a sexist apocryphal, totally false thing that I'm going to say, and everybody's going to think I'm a dumb cunt. So I went, I don't know. And everybody, including the professor, was like, this fucking idiot. Like, I talked to somebody in the class about it later. I was like, yeah, that one day I wasn't feeling so great. And they're like, oh, I remember that. You looked really dumb. Cool. Cool. It's a wonder I graduated.
Were you right, though?
No, somebody gave another explanation. He's like, yep, it's like, you measure with your thumb or something, like to make I don't know.
I think there are many proposed etymologies for that.
I know my middle
Sort of
finger's 5.5 inches. I use that to measure stuff.
I should measure my fingers,
Like how much
and then I can
you don't like people?
measure in salads.
I whip out dollar bills a lot because they're exactly 6 inches.
Shut up.
Are
no,
they?
they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad I don't carry money with me.
I
Then
try
I
to have a little bit of
Could
cash.
have a ruler.
I don't carry it because it makes it easy. It makes me not a liar when I tell homeless people I don't carry cash.
Mm.
Or that guy who just ran out of gas on his way to Carolina or something.
Yeah.
I'm not that.
Yeah, that
Or
makeup
that guy
place.
whose dad has cancer in New York and he has to go up to the clinic, but his wife stole the car and there was an accident in Sacramento across the country, but he needs to get to New York, so he needs a 5 to go see his dad who's sick with now a different disease, and in a different part of New York. Just kidding, it's in Rhode Island. He needs to get a train, bus. He needs to get on the bus, train, plane.
And his debit card's
And
not working.
He's having
Debit
a
card's not
hard
working,
life.
and he just needs like $5, man. That's all he needs. He has everything else he needs.
Because that'll get you there.
He just needs $5 more, man. Sometimes I'll let I'll
Just let
let
him go
them
on.
weave their tail just to see if I'm entertained. Because
Yeah, I'll give you $1.
never
if
mind,
I'm
99%
entertained.
of the time they're full of shit.
Yeah.
Because obviously, so like, but if they hook me, I'll humor them, and I do have like $1 or $2 in my pocket loose from the rest of my wallet because fuck you. Because it's always by the way, it's a good idea not just to have cash, but to have separate cash on your person, bum cash, and then your actual wallet. Because, okay, total side tangent. Ready? My dad travels a lot, and on at least one occasion, he legitimately didn't have cash to give to somebody right after parking his car. And what did they do but break into his car and steal everything? And oftentimes his lesson learned was that if you are in that situation, it's best to just throw like no more than a 5 at them just to keep them happy so they won't fuck with your shit. So, little rule for life if you're out and about.
Yeah, when the homeless people come up to me, I go, I got something better than money, and I whip out my hog, and they go, wow.
You carry a pig in your pocket?
Oh, boy.
Carry a big fat pig in my pocket.
Okay.
I'm a little startled at its comparison to a pig. Out of all the animal kingdom.
Well, the flat nose with the 2 holes. I mean,
Flat nose.
Moral of the story.
Ah!
Pee is stored in the balls.
Ah!
No, balls store the peas.
Ah!
what?
You got a flat nose chode in there, man.
What?
2 holes.
Two holes is not normal.
Well,
You got some Canadian bacon.
I
there.
imagine it.
That was Canadian. I would take offense.
Well, whatever
you're
it
in
looks
America.
like, it saved me probably $3 or $4 now.
Net for 30 years.
I'm not 30.
Shut up, boomer.
Whoa!
Okay, boomer. Oh, what a great meme. I'm the oldest one in the room at the moment, so
Say the boom, boom, boom. Everybody say wayo.
Ayo.
There it is.
I think I'm mentally the oldest one in this room.
Whoa. Why? Why do you got to go there?
No.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
as a tortured planar being,
Yeah.
you're probably ageless.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
probably have it up on
If
me.
you mean closest to the precipice of the eternal fall into dementia and unknowing, sure, yeah, you are the closest to that stage of life. Sure, I will give you that one.
You're basically Shea Gorath, but that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other
What?
story.
What?
Anyway, what were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about Chromebooks because I was trying to engage these 2 people over here, but I'm all out of stuff to talk about today. I've talked about like 4 things. So does
Kind of true.
anyone else have a goddamn?
I could talk about some 7 days. and how I am an ammo making machine.
Yes, hit us with that.
I have 4.
Hit me with your best shot.
Dun dun dun.
No.
I am so sure that you have a disorder that is related, like your brain,
He's talking to me.
I know.
a word comes into it and your brain's like, oh, fuck, how can I reference something? And hit is shot, hit me with your best shot, and then your brain just dumps the dopamine, just dumps it right in there.
I 1000% believe you. Like that's
I don't think
probably
she's
true.
alone. We do a lot of referential humor here. I shouted a Mad Max quote not 10 minutes ago.
He hates it.
I know.
It's nonstop. It's everything. I'll be like, I'm hungry. Hungry, hippos!
Nope.
Like, no, I'm just hungry for food. I just want to talk about what we're going to eat.
You're dating like a me.
anus, because I'm finally famous.
Okay, that's
No.
your thing to say.
I want to die.
First of all,
Die, death day, birthday, death day.
oh my god.
This has gone down a hole I don't want to be in.
Lie down on the couch. Head me.
Okay,
How are you
so
feeling?
you're making ammo.
I'm making so many things. So I still play on our server. I play the most.
I'm making
in,
them.
in a surprise to no one. I'm on that game almost every single day. 7 days to die. Never mind the fact that we have a very, very hardened steel bunker that nothing can get through. I need to turn the horde difficulty back up a little bit, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through 2 horde nights by myself in this past week, and I honestly don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
The only thing I do is watch out for the explodey boys, because there's these self-destructing mutants now, and I want them to blow up away from the base. So I'll just look for them. But other than that, I kind of don't have to fire a shot.
It's gotten to the point where like I run around now and punch zombies.
Here's the thing. You need to be much more careful because of my various improvements to the defenses.
Oh no.
So earthworks, a total of 3 concentric trenches, some of which have some spike traps in them, but mostly just to get them slowed down and jumping, right? There are 1.5 tiers of electric fence. The outer rim is fully contiguous and is isolated
Great use of that word.
into cells. So so basically by way of either the turrets or us shooting the fence posts or the zombies punching through them, no more than one stretch of it. One, like, I don't know, I think they're 5, maybe, I guess they're like 7-meter stretches in game. No more than that distance of fence can go down in a single time.
Very cool.
The rest of it, because of the way I wired it up.
Yes.
So like the rest of it, and the zombies will know, I've noticed. They'll tend to favor the gap in that area defenses, but it's just turrets. The defense is there to slow them for a bit, and they like sit there getting electrocuted, and then we or the turrets can sit there and pop them in the head while they're not moving their heads around like psychos. And it's just about foolproof. And then but to wire all that up, I mean, I had to clip through the ground and do all this wiring. So in addition to that, I set up a whole electrical grid in a way that I could neatly tuck away most of the wires and use like switches for everything for the most part. So like each room has its own set of lights that doesn't interfere with each other. And you know what I mean? And you should see how cockamamie the wiring looks if you clip through the ground and look inside the walls. It is silly the lengths I had to go to. Like fucking laryngeal nerves of just running wires all over the place in places that don't even appear to make sense, but it's all to isolate the circuits in such a way that they won't interfere with each other, and it'll look nice in presentation.
It was fun because I was like, oh, Jake, you did a great job, and then you're like, you should God mode. And I moved like 6 inches and saw behind the wall, and there's fucking wires everywhere. It looks terrible.
There is a method to the madness,
Yeah.
but in order to not significantly alter the structure and tuck the wires away, I had to do some goofy shit. But part and parcel to that, there's like a main utility room where the generators aren't, but I'm going to put some backup generators there with some like wire tools. And it like clearly labels where all the circuits are so that you can follow the wiring like through God mode. You can follow the wiring through the ground from that point and know what circuit you're working on. I eventually want to go through and just use like a numbering system and put the numbers like on like the faces next to them so that when you're out in the rest of the circuit, you can identify it on the fly without having to know.
Yeah.
Because I know, because I built it. But like, you know, but then I also just dug an actual access tunnel underneath all the underground electrical points. The end goal being to not have to clip through the ground to service it.
Yeah.
So that, you know, to restore that level of immersion. And so that's there.
Now my question is there a roof now above the caged
Partly.
area so that the birds can't come kill me?
Partly. That part's still under construction.
Okay.
Birds are one-shot kills now, though.
Not for me.
Not necessarily. Depends on your weapons and your perks.
Oh.
Your
But
fists.
I mean, yeah, like you hit a high level and you're using the weapon you spec'd into. Yeah, they're one shot. But anyway, so you know the turret battery's up. I built the gyrocopter. I found all the. I didn't have to take the perk. I just happened to find the schematics for everything. So I was like, we need a gyrocopter. Let's go.
Excellent.
Dude, this is great news because I built a farm that was taller than all the trees that I planted. And the game was like, I forgot about it, and it disappeared. So I went into God mode and creative mode, and I remade it, but I made it cooler. And then recently, I built a giant ramp so that I can ride my motorcycle all the way up to the top of this farm without ever getting off. And I'm really proud of myself because I didn't God mode it at all. I just used wood frames, and then I turned things into concrete, and it's awesome. And my plan is to put a gyrocopter runway on the other end so that I can simply fly away. And then I'm going to start to build more forts all across the map. Little stash houses where we can go. Just
The only catch with that is, I mean, you definitely need like a runway because those things are unwieldy. It's not a helicopter where you just sit the sucker down and take off vertically. No, it's a gyrocopter, and that requires forward momentum. And you need to take off. Now, coming off of a high ledge, like taking off is easy. You don't need a whole runway for that. It's landing because you are probably rolling to a stop. You're probably crashing to a stop unless you are very, very good. And in Alpha 17, I did a lot of gyrocopter flying, and I got okay. I got like, I mean, my go-to attempt was to try to like stop in the air and then fall. And then jump out of the helicopter the last second because it would reset and it wouldn't hit the ground as hard and you'd be fine. And then you know what I mean? But like because there's a reason why you remember on that little rooftop helipad I encircled 3 sides of 4 in hay bales because they're cheap to make and they disintegrate easily and they will slow you down and reduce like, you know, impact damage. Right. And yeah, no, it's just like one big hay bale airbag to land into, and that's my best approach. We don't yet have that set up at the base, but it'll be tough building it that high with your garden, man. Like you're gonna need a whole. That's gonna be a lot of work, but I do it. Go ahead, go forth and conquer.
One of my favorite parts about it is I split the squares that it's in, so like one part of it renders, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's still there. And then the whole other part renders. But there's always that one moment, I'm like, oh, did the game delete it?
Yeah, it's like right over a chunk border.
Yeah. Something happened. I think there was a reason that it deleted. When it deleted my thing, I feel like I was editing an XML file at the time.
You got to be careful with that.
Yeah. But the game has this issue, and it's had it for forever, where it won't transition from a distance render to a close range render. So basically, it populates a version of the objects that you see in the distance. It doesn't have to worry about you interacting.
Think of like a mountain in the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to worry about you interacting with it, so it doesn't do any of that calculation. Well, sometimes it doesn't successfully transit to one that you can't.
So you're
interact
driving to the mountain and you're near it.
Yeah. And like sometimes I'll see like little floating triangles that are like, I'll be next to a house and then there's the house distance version floating in space because it didn't do it properly. But the big thing is I have to drive around with developer mode on now all the time because sometimes, well, I have to enable it. You push Q to turn on God mode, but that is how I don't lose my motorcycle through the quicksand ground. So my motorcycle will be driving, then all of a sudden it just starts to sink through the dirt. And I can back up sometimes, but the best fix is if I just turn into God mode and I fly around and then I can pick it up and take it somewhere else. Because you can't drive through a cube most of the time that hasn't, or square zone that hasn't rendered properly, but you can God mode over it. And then next time you come back, it'll get over itself sometimes. I find that it has a bigger issue. A bigger issue when it's like two of us are playing and we sort of diverge, but we're medium distance apart. Like if you're all the way over there and I'm all the way over there, it doesn't seem to have an issue. But if we're like only like 2 or 3 squares away, that's when it starts to get wonky.
You could be right. It did something new in terms of failing to load chunks, zones, whatever they're called. The other yesterday, in fact, where I went away from base. I went to the trader for like a minute, and I came back. And no, actually, I think I was out for longer than that. I was fucking around in the desert, and then I came back to our base, and the base didn't load, and I got nervous because this has happened before, and I put a lot of work into it, and holy fuck, right? But instead of it just the Earth just being reset and me being able to drive through it and seeing that it was all reset, no, it bounced me off the border of that zone.
Yeah, that happens to me.
And it was like boink, and I was like, what? And I drove away, and I came back, and I kept boinking off this invisible wall. There was nothing on the other side of which there was nothing. And then, at least nothing of the base. You can see the town beyond it and everything. And I was like starting to get. I was like, okay, it just hasn't loaded yet. Like, what's going on? Where is it? What's going on? Finally, like, I got off pretty near, like pretty much right next to it. I spotted a bird's nest, and I was like, whatever. And I just reflexively got off my motorcycle to loot the bird's nest and destroy it. And then when I looked up, the base was there. And I was like,
weird.
Well,
do 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 do.
Well, the game will render things behind you, right? So when you're not looking at it, it'll load shit in. And I know this because I killed a screamer, which is like the girl from The Ring, and she hollers and hoots. And she calls others Zambos. And I'm standing in the middle of a wide open desert area, and I'm spinning around, and there are no zombies around me. And then I complete it, and there's a zombie like 50 feet away. And I was like, oh, so it spawned right there. The other issue that I was reading about is like, I really like riding my motorcycle around. When I get a mini bike, I'll start riding that, but I haven't gotten all the parts because mini bikes are dope. And
Motorcycle's better.
Yep. But the motorcycle goes too fast. And so it'll like hiccup with its rendering. So you beat the machine there, and then I bounce off of stuff all the time. I go through the ground. But if you just like go slow, it tends to have better performance, but that's not really the point. So when I run into that kind of issue, I just drive the opposite way and for a while, and then I come back and try to get it to reload, because I swear, like, I was monkeying with it one time, and that's what deleted a bunch of shit. Like, I was like, I'll fly over it in God mode, and it deleted what was on there and reset it, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, there are many reasons why it's been in alpha for 6 years.
I really want to get into modding, because you and I were chatting about this the other day.
They're just minor things I want to tweak.
Yeah, like the stack amounts, and I want to see if I can affect the some different game settings, like a Discord that I used to play Blackwake in. They're starting themselves a mine server, a fucking 7 Days to Die server, and they're like, please don't jump on alone and run the clock, right? And I was like, well, it would be cool if it automatically would calculate, it would affect the transit of time based on how many players were in the game. So if it was 1, the days were really, really long. And if there's like 8 people, then it goes much faster. And that way, like, if you're one person, you can get about the same amount of, I mean, not quite, but you can get a lot of work done alone. Or if you're 8 people, you're not getting 8 times as much work done. You're still getting about the same amount of work done, but it's between 8 people.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that'd be a cool little thing to write. And this game's all set up for it, so I'm excited. And if I can figure it out, I really want to put like some sort of faction functionality in there. Like, I want to fight things other than zombies, and I want my base to be helpful with that, right? Like, I want some boner brigade, some brigadiers to roll up and try to get into our turrets, and
like NPC humans.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
Or like a big fat pig, like a big
Grace,
like a
Gracie.
Yeah.
Oh, Gracie's so cute.
Oh yeah. So there's this horrible
The giant glowing green mutant evil pig is cute.
I found that thing, and I've maxed out my machine guns, and I was very scared of it because you warned me about it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get the jump, and then maybe I'll live. And I just put like 4 bullets into Gracie's pig head, and it dropped dead. It was like a layup.
Yep.
Okay.
Better that than getting bodied by it.
Yeah.
Because it would have.
I want Zombie Night. Like, why aren't there Gracies running at us? That would
cool.
be fucking exciting. And then, like, maybe like the barfing cops riding Gracies.
Oh
Oh
my God.
my.
Yeah. So I got to look into this, and I think that might lead to me just buying a machine that serves as our own server, and we play a very small world so the game doesn't explode. But hey, maybe Dylan will just be the best and he'll help me write these mods.
Yeah.
Shout out Dylan.
What's up, Dylan? You're doing great.
Best customer service rep ever.
Might be Devin. I don't know.
I like Dylan. I like that we've just decided.
All right. So you're running all this ammo making stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean I talked about the defenses. I also have 4 forges running, almost
Just
at
to
all
burn
times.
wood at this point.
Essentially, I've been getting the habit of trying to turn them off before I sign out because the game will just keep running past my logging off for like a little while, just long enough.
Does anything happen? Like
Just use
burns down or
uses,
just use?
it just
okay.
uses fuel. But I also have to go run iron. But I'm just doing all of like this back office resource management. It's like the bulk of my playtime. And I occasionally go out to just dig spend an hour and dig a gigantic strip mine for a specific resource because my auger's like all maxed out, and so is all my digging and like mining perks. I'm just like ripping through the earth like no one's business, like it's made out of paper.
Dude, it's so like you'll be in the game. I'll jump on. I'm like, cool, Drake's here, and then you're just standing in front of the forge, managing inventory or something. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go away. And I leave and I go and I'm like mining and I'm not as good at it. Although I got to say they really improved the auger in this game. It's much more satisfying to use. I was getting attacked by screamers left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And I forgot. Not only like I don't stun anymore. However, I haven't upgraded my ability to run and gun. So when I have to reload, I crawl. And this is when they bodied me. And there was just one point I was like, Jake, save me! And he comes, he's like, oh, I'll be right there, buddy. And he like comes out, and I died 10 feet in front of him.
Oh.
He's like, what'd you do? And then he killed all the zombies.
Yeah, I was like just opening up
Yeah.
when you went down, and I was just like headshot, dead.
He avenged you.
What was the problem? I was like, oh, you were ambushed, and I flanked them. So,
It happened to me twice. I hadn't died in days, like literal days. And then I died twice in my same mine because
wait, did you get blown up by a mine outside of an army base and drop all your shit and then sign off for the night?
no.
Because I found a motorcycle with a bunch of shit I'm pretty sure you had, but it might have been Chris or someone.
It was Chris.
Okay.
Chris did that and then he left. But you found it.
I found it. I took all the dumb shit out of. I basically I picked up his backpack, put all of his shit into the motorcycle, and took everything he had stored in the motorcycle that was like just resources I was going to manage later anyway. And then I proceeded to clear the
Oh
whole
yeah,
area
wait.
he
What
died
happens
from.
to my backpack that I dropped that one time?
It should still be there unless you never got it and died again.
No.
It'll still be there. It just
Yeah.
won't show up.
It's
on
just
your
there forever?
radar,
Yeah.
Your radar.
It'll be on your compass.
Okay, good.
Although the last time I died, it deleted my backpack, but the marker is still there. So I can't retrieve it, and I haven't died since. No, there wasn't anything all that important in there, actually, because it was such bullshit when I went back to retrieve it. And I was on top of the marker. I died on like a rooftop of like a building, and I went to that exact spot, and it was not there, and is not there.
Did you God mode vertical?
Yes.
Through it?
I did everything. So I was like, okay, well, bullshit. And I gave myself like, just good creative moded the few things that because bullshit.
Yeah.
Although, what was I going to say? I don't know. You definitely need to be pretty forgiving of the game's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what it is, but it's definitely, it's to say that it's so bad that it's good is to do it an injustice. It has problems, and those problems are quaint. In the same way that like Bethesda bugs are quaint,
Yeah.
except Bethesda's a big evil company that I have almost no respect for left, and these are like just a couple of independent devs doing their best and being really engaged with with the vision they're trying to create.
And all the changes that they made, I haven't been initially excited for some of them, like especially the systems, and you can't craft level 6 stuff now. You have to like...
Yeah, they chose to make that either loot or buy only.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't think I like that, but I just give it a shot because the game's good otherwise.
You know what? It makes finding a level 6 anything that much more exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything they do turns out well to in the opposite of my expectations. But I'm always wrong, right? So I thought VR was going to do really well, and now it's almost dead.
R.I.P.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. Then we're going to do Steam Sale, and you guys are going to love it. It's going to be
So hype.
good.
Amaze.
All right.
Amaze.
Get you on the flip side.
That's a pretty bad stutter.
Should be a YouTuber.
Steam Sale.
Steam Sale.
Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Steam Sale. Steam Sale.
We should do it in rounds next time.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That wouldn't really work. It would just be layering.
Yeah.
Oh, it sound like garbage, like most of the other times we talk at the same time.
No, I mean, it would be... Never mind.
Row your sail. Steam your sail. Gently down the steam.
your sail.
Merrily,
Steam,
merrily,
steam,
merrily,
steam,
merrily. Stuff
steam,
is
your sail.
all on sale.
Iceberg Interactive Publisher Weekend up to 85% off entire catalog.
Didn't these guys kill the Titanic? Oh, Railroad Corporation.
Different than Railroad Empire.
Ooh, this had better not be one iota similar to Railroad Empire.
I mean, there
It has trains in it.
And it says Railroad.
Now leaving early access, 15% off at 25. Dude, I just love trains so much. I keep crossing my fingers, but I don't know, man. I want Pandemic, Pandora, whoever made EU4 to make me a train game.
Paradox.
Paradox.
That's
Yeah.
it.
The other. Blah, blah, blah. What is there was something called tech support.
Tech support error unknown.
Do
Is
you
this
get
literally a
like
game about
sim?
being Dylan?
Is this
Dylan!
Dylan?
Hello, Breeze. Things are not what they seem at your new tech support specialist job. When resolving customer issues, you soon find yourself in the middle of a conspiracy. Will you side with your employer, join a rogue hacktivist group bent on destroying them, or assist the police, or stand alone?
That's too many ors.
Any
Or
options?
go home and
Or
jerk
you-
off instead.
Wow,
That's the option Dylan chose.
This looks like a cool menu simulator. Oh, and there's the pictures of developers and their family in the game. I love that.
They're real people.
Oh my god,
That's
I love it so
cute.
much.
They are people too.
Dude,
Hacking.
if I was a 11-year-old kid and I wanted to learn how to be a master hacker, I'd
The
play this game.
developer's name is Dragon Slumber.
Dragon Slumber.
Just pointing that up.
Publisher is Iceberg.
But yeah, this does look like
That's
it
pretty
reminds me a
hilarious
lot
that
of
it
actually Papers, Please.
Wait, check out Shortest Trip to Earth. That looks like they took the FTL,
Faster Than Light.
Faster Than Light, top-down, super hard space game, and they...
Roguelike spaceship simulator
Speed.
focused on exploration, ship management, and tactical battles. Embark on a perilous journey across the universe with an armed crew, nuclear missiles, and a cat.
That looks kind of fun.
Mhm.
Mostly positive.
It's Cthulhu.
It's like $15 on sale.
Dude, okay.
Cthulhu is in the game.
This is
He's an
looking a
alien?
lot like a mobile game. I
It
feel like these are
does.
dressed up mobile games, just like Railway
could be.
Empire.
Could be. I don't know. Not too much for me.
I mean, this is FTL. just reskinned.
I really love how every page on the Steam store is trying to bring up a live stream window.
Yeah.
Every single one.
What's still there?
This is an entire catalog, by the way. We don't have time to go through every game, but
Come on.
still there. It looks like a dude stranded in space.
It's a lizard. This looks like it could be entertaining. How much is it?
Oblivion.
$13.50.
Something about Italian coffee.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a dude in space. I don't really feel like reading the description.
Dude,
it doesn't look
dude
like
in
much to
space.
me.
No, it doesn't look very. Another mobile game.
Let's move on. Oh my God, go away.
Oriental.
Starpoint Gemini is a whole series of those. I don't know if you ever have seen those.
I've never seen any of this goddamn shit.
It's a whole franchise. Maybe it's good. Oriental Empires. I'm calling the Orient about this
There's
one.
also the Three Kingdoms and Genghis.
It's pronounced Jingos.
Anti-Graviator, which looks like
Yankees?
F-Zero.
What the fuck? These all look like stolen games.
They kind of do.
Like reskinned other games.
Hey, it's
Starship
Snatchers.
Corporation.
What?
Is this? Are these actually ripoffs? Like,
Sci-fi sim game.
okay, maybe not. But to build a Supreme Galactic Megacorp.
Is this not Kerbal Space Program?
Or what's that other one? Stellaris? Or was it?
Stellaris was.
Or-
There was another one too.
Yeah.
Off-road trading company.
Yeah.
Off-road citizen.
Off-road.
Off-road.
Off-road trading company.
They are.
On a
They
different
never
planet.
figured out roads or rail or planes. They just ride dune
Off-road.
buggies everywhere.
Yeah.
Trying to transport like fragile shit.
Just go everywhere by the way the crow
Okay,
flies.
this doesn't appear to be an outright rip of any of those games, but is sort of a similar idea done differently from the look of it. Looks like mostly ship management as opposed to other types of management.
All right.
Empathy.
Yeah, I'm seeing no games that are recognized here.
And the
Yeah,
minions.
those
Jesus
are
Christ! Look at
What's
these.
Dark
go-
Matter? What
I
is it?
don't know. We don't. Let's not click on any more.
Okay.
Just shout out Blazing Sails. That is a
Pirate Battle Royale.
Oh my God!
It's like the
Oh.
mobile
look at
game
this one.
version of
Black
It's not out
Road.
yet.
Holy fuck! This can't be good. This cannot be
The
good.
video is going to take 5 years to load, but
Blazing Sails.
And like
It
your little
looks-
treehouse you have.
it looks normal.
Type
made
it
out
out.
of what looks like a spaceship.
All right,
spaceship.
Iceberg, you're officially on notice. I think you're
Ship.
Chinese
Flagged.
government propaganda machine, stealing games.
And writing Amazon reviews.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, they're all so fake now.
Here's 50% off. This just came out on September 5th. Reviews are mixed, about 5,000.
It's
Can't be
probably
good if
why
it's on
off.
sale already for half off.
Yeah, it's a little extreme. I mean, although holidays is fine, but just Handful and 76 did the same thing. Let's see, 5 thrilling modes. Okay, it's the 5th game in the Gears of War series.
How the fuck?
A bunch of meatheads cutting up bug monsters.
How could this game must be real bad if it's 50% off already? And it's like, this is one of the biggest IPs ever. I mean, this fucking game redefined over the shoulder, third person online multiplayer battles. This game was a goddamn phenomenon.
It's a cover based third person shooter. It's just about making your character stick to chest high walls everywhere. And
it really
was
popularized that.
It's
mechanic.
really yeah, it did, and it's pretty fun. I never even played a full game. I played most of the very first game and put it down for some reason. It's not because I didn't like
the
it.
Terminators in there?
Oh yeah, they added Terminators for some reason.
That's dumb.
Well, that's Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
Franchise
but-
infringement.
Well, I'm sure they didn't infringe on anything. I'm sure it was specifically agreed to. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just never got into the series. I probably need to give it another chance. But this game coming off at half off just 2 months into its life is a little suspect, even with the holidays.
Oh, Jesus.
But man, oh man, are
That's
some
like a
of these
hand
cutscene
mixer.
kills satisfying. That's sort of what it's all about, just muscly meathead over the top gory violence against big dumb bug monsters.
All right.
Yep.
Well, that
$30 if you like Gears and haven't picked this one up yet for some reason. There you go. Daymare, because we can't have a zombie without the word day in it. A zombie game.
Peanut butter
Daymare.
chocolate cake.
What?
Daymare 1998 is a third-person survival horror game that recreates the mood of iconic titles from the 90s with a fresh storyline. An incident that turns a small town into a deadly zone. 3 characters to play with and little time to find the truth before its mutated citizens abruptly end your mission. Mostly positive. September 17, 2019, and $21 on sale.
Oh, they're really hitting the high notes here. Day Zombos, 1990s.
Day Merryman, but yeah.
I'm getting kind of a Resident Evil vibe from a lot of these shots.
You know, I'm going to roast this, and it's going to turn out to be awesome. Yo, this does look like Resident Evil. Damn, dude.
The bald dude makes me think of Hitman too, but
It's Hitman versus zombies.
So this is over-the-shoulder shooter. It looks like a kind of hard. There's no heads-up display. I mean, in the gameplay here, there's just crosshairs. An organization called Hades. Wasn't there
Hades?
Star?
Hades.
Wasn't there Star in what's it called? Resident
XCOM?
Evil?
No.
Umbrella?
Oh,
Is it called something
that's
different.
Something.
more than a human zomboid.
So this looks like a bit of a Resident Evil clone, but it doesn't look bad for it.
No, big Mondu person.
This looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's I'm actually kind of.
And there's bald generic white guy soldier who weighs about $180, and he's the hero, and I can relate to that.
Didn't really catch much of the '90s flair in that muted.
It looked kind of
trailer.
like shit, so you know, like 90s computers.
What is this?
Atelier
Why is it? My question is, why is it $36 on sale? Why is it a full
40%.
price game?
40% off.
Normally,
I don't know.
This Scion of Arlen.
Atelier Lulua, the Scion of Arland, followed by a bunch of Japanese characters.
The long-awaited
Yeah.
4th installment.
Of the popular Ireland series.
There
that
must
has
be a lot
begun.
of anime titties in this if you're paying $35. You can RPG.
It's a story, yeah.
You can RPG and JRPG.
It's a
Oh,
straight-
it's an alchemy thing.
It's a straight anime. I mean,
It's a click sim.
is there? I'm waiting for
It's
any
a-
gameplay at all to show up. This is so far
Yeah,
just an anime.
Yeah.
Achoo-ha!
I didn't realize you
Fucking-
were part of the
that
dub.
curry looks good though.
Fucking.
This is
love
a damn
curry.
anime.
waiting for
Where's the beach
okay.
episode?
Oh, there it is.
It says
Okay.
RPG.
Okay.
It's probably mostly just clicking through.
Getting some.
So you're fighters, but you also bake and cook.
So from what
It's
few
anime.
screenshots are here that appear to depict sort of gameplay, I'm getting just kind of generic JRPG vibes.
Yep.
But if I'll take them at their word, given the less than 300 total reviews, all of which are very positive,
It's a very niche group of people.
that this is not terrible, but it's not my speed. What else we got? Total War 3 Kingdoms. Cuphead just had some
Yeah.
news. Cuphead now has a co-op
Oh, really?
What?
and is
Oh,
on sale
cool.
for $15 as a result.
Well,
You can-
consider it bought.
Yep. So that's a thing, and I might have to jump into. Warhammer Vermintide is $750. I think that's the cheapest we've seen it, but we've seen it here many
That's
times.
pretty
Yep.
good.
And
30,000 mostly positive.
if you're into the
reviews.
Warhammer franchise at all, I've heard good things about this installment for sure.
Oxygen not included. We've
This is
seen that before.
Have we?
Yeah, because it looks like that cartoon, Muppets Big Adventure now.
Mm.
Fish Head's Big Adventure.
I don't know.
Big Adventures, Big Adventure.
Yeah.
That one. Okay.
All right, what the hell's
Yep.
Outward? Let's check this out.
I feel like we've seen this before too, but
Looks like a cowboy.
no remarkable journey is achieved without great effort. Outward is an open world RPG where Jake knows how to speak correctly and where the cold of night or an infected wound can be as dangerous as a predator lurking in the dark. Explore the vast world of Arai. Embark on memorable adventures alone or with your friends. Mostly positive, about 5,500 reviews.
Came out in March.
March 2019.
Oh, I see slashing.
Yeah, so a little bit of gameplay there. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. See.
Pretty. Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dramatic sunlight, though, in every single shot.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
co-op, fantasy, open world survivor. Damn. This might work out fun.
I'm waiting for
Gameplay.
And it's survival.
Oh, it says explore a peerless fantasy world, so
Ooh,
it's got no peers.
glowy caves.
Either really good or really bad.
the dangers of Arai. Oh wait.
Oh, that was a spooky ghost.
Alrighty.
All purple grass. That's how you know it's fantasy.
I want to see some actual gameplay though, because it looks nice.
Look at
but I
how
can't-
good these
That's
graphics
just-
are. We
oh,
paid
there
our
we are.
graphics.
Some
guys.
fighting.
Watch the gameplay.
Oh, dinosaurs!
And desert
What
bugs.
would you compare this to?
Skyrim-y-ish.
Ish.
Close, but
Some notes of
No.
Skyrim.
Oh, fuck. This reminds me of like some game where there were like glowing zombies that burst when you hit them.
7 Days to Die.
also a survival game.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I guess comparisons to, I don't know. It's an open world third person RPG beat 'em up sort of arrangement. Kind of a little hint of Dark Souls, a little hint of Legend of Zelda, a little hint of that whole sphere of things. Doesn't look terrible.
No.
$20 on sale, half
Yeah.
off. Full
bit-
price is $40. It came out this year. Okay.
Yeah. Not
Yeah, I
bad.
think it's I guess you call that single A or double A. I'm not sure, as opposed to triple A. Is that everything? I think
Yes,
it
I think that was-
kind of is. Let's skim the. Is there anything else going on up here? Total War 3 Kingdoms we mentioned only briefly. Half-Life Alyx. That's sort of a whole separate conversation.
Oh yeah, that's
VR.
the
Big
VR
announcement.
thing they're doing, right?
They announced it as a precursor to an actual Half-Life 3,
Which is a miss.
Shut your door mouth.
It's a VR only game, Half-Life Alyx, but and it's free if you own Steam's VR unit, which is I think one of the more expensive ones. But from the trailers, the gameplay looks impressive. Although that wouldn't be the first time a VR game has fooled us if they made it up. Yeah, I think depending, I think they're. The only thing I watched about it was Angry Joe talk about it, yeah, I think it's their way of dipping their toe back into the Half-Life franchise, just to garner interest and see who bites in general, and what the talk is about it. Because obviously not everyone has VR. In fact, an extreme minority of people have VR. But it's definitely seems to be drumming up some noise. And I mean, we've been waiting for 20 years now for, or 15 years or something for Half-Life 3. Or another episode of Half-Life 2 or something,
Anything.
because that thing just ended without an ending, and that's the worst thing you can do to a franchise. The worst. I'd rather have a shitty ending than no ending at all.
Really?
Yeah. And there are other franchises in other mediums that have ended that way. Hunter x Hunter in the anime sphere. Firefly in the Western sci-fi sphere.
Oh.
Tragedies of unfinished work. The fact that Half-Life was one of them is a big sticking point for thousands and thousands and thousands of people for a long time, myself included. So I'm excited. I want to see Alyx when it comes out. I'm definitely not going to splurge for VR just to play it. But
Maybe watch it
I'm very,
review
very
or something.
Yeah,
to see what it's
absolutely.
like.
I might pick up VR. I'm building my machine here soon, so.
Yeah. I mean, if you're building a brand new Gucci Starship Enterprise affair, then you may as well jump in.
Yeah.
I could have, knowing what I know now about my machine, I could have definitely not invested in certain things and possibly had the money for VR when I built it. But oh well. Anyway,
You live and you learn.
that's
and
the
then
only
you
interesting
die.
thing going on up here in the featured and recommended that I can see.
Mhm.
So let's call it.
All right. I'm really leaning towards Cuphead, two cups, 2 players. But
2 cups, one head.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
We all know I'm going to go with Train Corporation.
I'm gonna have to second the Cuphead vote there, and if not that, I would go with Oxygen Not Included.
I don't know. I'm not super excited about anything today, but I think Outward might look cool just from a quick flash of what I've seen. I don't know. It could be good. It could be also really bad. So
It's a lot to explore.
You do enjoy different things about games than, well, me and Jake.
yeah.
I'll give you that much. I
I'm
think-
really fixated on the farming in 7 Days to Die. I couldn't care less about the hordes and zombies right now. I'm just all about the
and the
farm.
new Pokemon, you're like, that's so adorable.
I mean, they're cute. So
Yeah, so
I
maybe
don't-
the cute purple grass would really give you that gameplay you wanted. I'm not making fun of you. I'm Just commenting that it might-
Acknowledging my interests.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's, I guess, my vote.
I see you, Lisa.
Salad fingers likes purple grass.
This
Dislikes-
just in.
I see you like Sully did in that fucking Blue Monster movie.
What?
Sure.
Hmm?
Avatar.
That was an Avatar reference. Hey, who's making references now, huh, Bill?
I was going to say Monsters, Inc.
Sully. Oh, and he's blue. Oh, my God. Amaze.
Got him.
Amaze.
Crossover.
I'm
Avatar.
all for it. I will.
Avatar
I will pay for that Kickstarter.
Oof. I am also struggling with the selection this week. Cuphead is almost my default, although looking at some of the screenshots for Warhammer Vermintide at a price point of $7.49, I might have to dip my toe into the Warhammer franchise.
Pick that up.
So that's probably
Pick it up.
that's probably those are my two, are Cuphead and Vermintide. But I don't know if I'll actually pull the trigger on either one.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another The Gang Talks Around a Fire. I just noticed there's a candle in the room.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So it is
What
true.
What an intimate atmosphere we've cultivated here today. I just want to tell you all, I love you in the most human sense. I'm here for you as a co-astronaut, a co-astronaut on this giant spaceship rock that we call Terra Mother Gaia. And don't forget always to please, but what? Cock them, lock them, and then rock them, baby. ASMR.
I'm ready for a nap.